All right, we're here for another bowl preview. This time it's the Alamo Bowl between number 14 Oregon and number 16 Oklahoma. Welcome into the Fan Addict Sports Channel for sports fans by a sports fan. It's your boy Coach I, where my dog's at. All right, we're here for another bowl preview. This time it's the Alamo Bowl between number 14 Oregon and number 16 Oklahoma. We got a lot to talk about with a lot of changes happening to both teams. So I brought in some help from each school to help me with this video. Coming back again for another episode to help me out is Dustin from Sideline Sports Network account representing Oregon. What's going on, Dustin?
Not a whole lot, man. I appreciate you having me. Just everybody go follow Sideline Sports Network, SSN, CFB, and of course Sidelines Oregon.
That's right. That's right. And next guest is going to be Mike. He has his own podcast. It's called Air Raid Attack. What's going on, Mike?
What's going on, Coach I? Appreciate you having me on.
Man, no problem, man. No problem. Glad you can come on here. And you actually live in Oklahoma, don't you, Mike?
Yes, sir. This is the podcast is right dab here in the heart of Oklahoma City, and just 30 miles north of Norman, of course, home of the Sooners. So follow the show on Twitter, airraid_podcast, my personal one, On Air with Mike, and talk some sports.
That's what's up, man. I'm trying to, I told Dustin before you got on, man, one of my bucket lists, I'm a college football fan. I want to get out to Norman for a game. Now that you guys are in the SEC, I definitely have going to be, let me correct that, going to be, quote unquote. I think that's going to happen sooner than 2025, by the way. So we'll get a chance to play you guys in Norman, and I can see a game out there. So let's go ahead and jump into this, man. The first thing on deck, I'm pretty sure everybody thinking about it, is the new coaching staffs at both schools. You know what I'm saying? It's like almost seemingly in the middle of the night for both of them. Let's start with Oklahoma, man. Lincoln Riley pulled a, hey, I'm not going to be the coach at LSU, which was not a lie. How you feeling about the coaching change? First, tell me how you feeling about how Lincoln Riley handled the situation, man.
Well, I'm not for sure if everybody remembers, way back in the day when Dan Francione left College Station, Texas A&M to Alabama type of thing. And truthfully, it was the same resemblance. You left in the middle of the night. However, different vibes. But the way he did it, to answer your question, I just thought it was shady all the way around. Coach Joe Castillo, the president, Bob Stoops. I mean, the list goes on and on. The recruits, the players, nobody really knew what went on. But at the end of the day, it's business. I mean, I get what Lincoln Riley did, and money-wise, and obviously you can't compare LA to Norman. That's not even a contest. So I'll give him that. Of course, we're upset, but we got our guy with Brent Venerables. So yeah, it's shady, but hey, we got Brent.
Yeah, man, Brent Venerables is a good coach. He's already been there, knows the lay of the land, great recruiter, and I personally think one of, if not the best defensive coordinator coming out of Clemson in the nation. So Lincoln Riley, I don't know, man. I felt like he might have told a couple of recruits, man, because sometimes it takes about 48 hours or so before recruits start decommitting and stuff. Like there was a couple that decommitted 6 hours after he announced he was going to USC and then committed the next day. I'm like, yo, man, that was crazy like that. But like I said, you got Brent Venerables, so I think that'll be good. I think the people in Oklahoma are gonna like that. And got a defensive coordinator just like Oregon has a new, they went from one defensive guy to a new defensive guy, Dan Lanning from the Dogs. I think Dan Lanning is gonna be good for the Oregon Ducks. How you feeling about that? And I guess start with the same question, Dustin. How you feel? Like Mario Cristobal kind of was over in the night too.
Yeah, I mean, none of us thought it was going to happen, but if he was going to leave for a job, it was going to be Miami. It's his home, and you can't really devalue somebody for going back home. The only issue I had with it was he was in recruits' home the weekend he left, telling them he's not going to leave. And to me, if you're mulling over that decision, you should probably just cancel your visits and wait till after you make the decision. But other than that, no ill will towards him because, again, he went home, went to be with his mom, so – but on the Dan Lanning, I love it. watched his press conference a few hours ago. Man, he seems hyped up. Seems like the real deal. And I just can't wait for him to lead these guys.
Man, Dan Lanning is a super energetic coach. So, and he's young. Dan Lanning's
Oh,
only,
yes.
he's only like, I want to say like 35,
35.
36, something
Yep.
like that. It's like, so yeah, man, it's going to be pretty good for both teams. And with that said, man, it's going to make, I think, for an interesting matchup coming into, both the bowl for the bowl game. Let's go ahead and get into the bowl game. I just got some random numbers here. We got Oklahoma is what's crazy is when I started looking up bowl records for a lot of teams during this season, a lot of teams don't have winning records in bowl games overall. Oklahoma actually does. They're 30, 23, and 1 in bowl games. Oregon is 15 and 19 in bowl games. Oregon's last bowl game was the Fiesta Bowl last year with a loss to Iowa State. Oklahoma's was a massacre of Florida, which I love to see always as a dog fan, in the Cotton Bowl last year. I don't care if they didn't have anybody playing. They lost by a lot. Between Oregon and Oklahoma, they've played a total of 7 times. Oklahoma being 6-1 in those games. Only one bowl game matchup though in 2005 Holiday Bowl. So that's the only time they've actually played there. And for the betting heads out there, Oregon is 4-2 against the spread in their last 6 games, and they've gone under 8-5. They're 8-5 for the under this season. Oklahoma is 5-6-1 against the spread this season, and they've gone over 7 out of the 12 games this year. So those are the random numbers for you betting heads out there. Let's start with Mike. Mike, on to the game, man. How are you feeling about Oregon's chances versus the Ducks, and why?
I like, it starts with coaching, Bob Stoops, coaching, of course, just this one game, but it's cool seeing Coach Stoops out there. I think that gives us a little edge in regards to the game. Talent-wise, team-wise, I don't really know what we're going to be out there with. We got a bare minimal coaching staff. Coach Stoops is coming in. Player-wise, I know Caleb's going to be out there. Caleb Williams, true freshman quarterback. I think regardless of if he ends up in Oklahoma or if he does in fact transfer, I think he'll have a bright future regardless. But excuse me, losing Stogner and Hazelwood and Weiss and some of the defensive players. Perrion Winfrey, Nick Bonito, Brian Osmoa. We lost some key players that will hurt, due to declaring for the draft and so on and so forth. Maybe we can get a Kennedy Brooks, Eric Gray, Marcus Major in the running backs. We can run the ball pretty well. Receiving, we got Drake Stoops, Mike Woods. I'm not for sure if Marvin Mims is playing, but I like our chances. I just think losing some of the key players, especially on defense and most of them are receiving core, is going to hurt offensively. I think with Coach Stoops, though, at least at the helm for this one game, you can't count out Coach Stoops. But to answer your question, if I had to pick what would give us the edge, it's going to be coaching with Bob Stoops. I think he can rally these kids around and hype them up from what's been taking place the last 2.5, 3 weeks.
Yeah, excuse me. And one thing I tell the high school kids around here, when it comes to receivers, I don't think Oklahoma. I know you guys won't have the starters that you have, but Oklahoma keeps receivers. It's just like I look at when it comes to receivers, it's like Bama, Oklahoma, and Ohio State just keeps churning them out. So I think the mentality is going to go a long way to how you guys perform against Oregon. Now, Oregon hasn't had the mass exodus that Oklahoma has, but they've had a couple of players I think transfer out, but or decide to opt out and to play get ready for the draft. So how you feel about your chances, Destin, with Oregon going against Oklahoma?
I feel pretty good. We're not as depleted as them. I think just cave on, which was expected, and transfer of DJ James is about all we're going to be missing on defense. Barone hasn't announced whether he's playing or not. I hope he does. Offensively, I think we'll get everybody. other than Micah Pittman, who transferred about 3 weeks left in the season. So I think we're good, and all the coaching staff is staying other than Mario. So kind of get some consistency there.
Okay. So who's the head guy for the bowl game?
Brian McClendon. He's our wide receiver coach.
Okay, and then he's leaving to go to.
He hasn't announced yet whether he's staying or leaving.
Okay.
So I guess that's going to be up to Lanning, and then he'll make his decision then. Joe Moorhead's still running the offense, and then he'll leave to go to Akron. And then they said the host coaching staff staying, so I would assume DeRuyter and Yates will still be in Oregon too instead of at Tech.
Okay.
So,
well, good thing is McClendon does have one bowl victory under his belt. The coached in the I want to say it was the transition between Margaret and Kirby Smart.
Yep.
I forget what bowl it was, but he was the head coach. It was one of the bowl games in Florida, so that's a good thing. Oh no, man. Kayvon Thibodeau was a key part of y'all defense, but y'all still got Noah Sewell, who played, pretty lights out in the Pac-12 championship, even though you guys didn't come away with the win.
Right. Yeah. That we beat Ohio State without Kayvon. Yeah. So I'm not saying that that Kayvon's not a huge piece of the team by any means, but
that is true.
It's
definitely that is true. So Oklahoma has won the Big 12 like 6 years in a row, something like that, up until this year.
Yeah, 6. Well, now you can count also with now Baylor, winning this year, 6 of the last 7, and I think we can get one more in there before we leave for the SEC. Fans, reality, we're not going to dominate, which is funny because OU fans think we're going to walk into the SEC and dominate, which good luck. But anyway, yes, to answer your question, 6 of the last 7.
Yeah, and do you think that plays a part? Because you know how when teams have a certain expectation in mind and then they fall short, do you think that plays a part in how they look at this bowl game? Like, hey, I'm just going to go ahead and get mine or anything like that?
I think, I would have said yes in this aspect, but I think with what's gone on the last 3 weeks, being shunned out of the Big 12 championship game by Oklahoma State, and of course you got your conspiracy theorists of how that transpired, but I'm like, whatever. We lost OSU. I don't like it, but we lost. But even though I thought Caleb was going to win it at the end, but no, nonetheless, I think this team comes out with with a chip on their shoulder. I'm not for sure, what the poster board is looking like, but I think they come out here and rocking it, Coach Stoops, but, more importantly, hey, like, they're, literally, we're OU. We're going to show them that we're still one of the top dogs in college football, even though we are in the Alamo Bowl and against a really good Oregon team. I'm not knocking what Oregon's done all year long. So this is probably one of the better non-New Year's Six bowl games when it comes to two power teams from good conferences.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And I think because you had the mass exodus with the wide receivers, those young wide receivers may be out there to say, hey, they're not, the only ones on the team. And the same for the Oregon defense. They like, hey, just like you said, Dustin, they like, hey, we beat Ohio State without Kayvon Thibodeau. So it's not like, he makes the world go around. So hopefully, as a college football fan, that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping both teams want to come out and prove that just because we had some chaos going on here in December doesn't mean that our team is in chaos and we can get us a good matchup. So with that said,
yeah, hopefully the young players try to step up and try to show the new coaches, hey, we're here. We're good.
I mean, if I was
kind of like an audition.
Exactly. I was just about to say, if I was a young player, I'd be like, hey, Venerables, hey, Lanning, this is, hey man, no, I'm supposed to be the starter, something like that. So with that said, man, let's go ahead and get into some predictions. I'm going to start with you, Dustin, man. You're the highest ranked team in this matchup, so we'll go ahead and let you do the prediction first.
Man, it's going to be tough to predict this game. OU has no defense, and we have no coaches. So let's go 38-34 Oregon.
The bar burner, let's do it. All right, Mike, what you think gonna happen, man?
Hey, our good defensive players are worrying about the draft right now. No, our defense. No, jokes aside, This is really just a tough one to really when you just set your mind to it and just predict. Because is this an Oklahoma team that comes out like I mentioned earlier and chip on their shoulder and does these guys come out and play? Okay, well, this is OU, or do we just absolutely fall on our face and that could happen too. I'm not going to sit there and say it won't, but um, God dang it, both defenses. I think OU's defense got to stop Oregon. Um, I'm going to go OU. I'm probably going to go. This is too much points I think for this offense, but I'm going to give them some luck out of it. I'm going 42-38 Oklahoma.
Both of y'all in the barn burner. You say the heck with the defense in the Alamo Bowl, baby. Hey, I like it. That you know what, more offense makes for good football. So I'm actually like y'all, man. I don't know about 42-38, but I am looking at like 34-31 because, like you say, I think both teams are going to be able to score. I just don't see a scenario where Oklahoma can't score on anybody, and I don't see a scenario where Oklahoma all of a sudden, comes up with a great defense to be able to stop Oregon either. So I'm going to go 34-31. Who's coaching for Oklahoma in the bowl game? Is it Venerables?
Bob Stoops.
Bob Stoops. I'm gonna go 34-30. I'm gonna go 34-31. Big time, Bob.
Bob, he wants to beat Oregon because the last time we lost to Oregon, that's that onside kick that we all knew.
I know. That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
OU recovered. So this is personal to Bob.
2006.
That's what I was gonna say. I just hope the beginning team kicks an onside kick. Whoever gets the kickoff.
Oh, that's right. Big time Bob said he lost one. So that's right, man. I definitely appreciate you guys coming on. For everybody out there, if you got a score prediction, let us know what it is in the comments. And again, you can get at these guys on Twitter. You can get at Dustin at Sidelines Oregon page. It is at SSN_Oregon. Is that correct, Dustin?
Yes.
And with Mike, you can get at him at On Air with Mike. Each word capitalized first letter, On Air with Mike, and you can get at his podcast wherever you enjoy your podcast. Thanks again, fellas, for coming on to do this with me. For Mike and the Air Raid Podcast, Dustin, and the Sideline Sports Network Oregon account, this is Coach I, the Fanatic, and we are out of here.